Before we start, just a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. Only 2% are subscribed. At 1,000 subscribers, I'll be posting a special video. Sign. The officer taps the line like a metronome. I grip the pen and force my hand steady. I'm Mara, 28. My voice sticks in my throat. Eli nudges my elbow and gives a small nod. The room feels too close as the pen scratches. A second officer sets down a recorder. Photos after, he says, eyes flat and patient. Eli slides closer and hooks an arm around me. I angle my face to his shoulder and breathe once. Convince me, the officer adds, thumb on the switch. Eli's palm finds my waist. First dance, he murmurs so only I hear. We move 2 slow steps across the dirty tile. I let out a short laugh that sounds real. The recorder blinks like a red warning. Rings, the first officer says without looking up. I tilt my hand and hold it still. Eli turns his band with a dull click. The officer watches our fingers almost too long. Good grip, he says, pen hovering like a threat. Proof of shared life. He leans back and waits. Eli unlocks his phone and opens our thread. Sparse messages stare up with cold gaps. I reach for his camera and hit record. Morning check, I say, chin high for the lens. I kiss his cheek once, quick and clean. His jaw flexes and then eases. Groceries tonight, he says to the camera. I add, and the lease renewal, and hold his gaze. The officer's eyebrow twitches like he caught something. He stands and circles us slowly. Favorite meal, he asks, voice neutral and light. Eli answers first and points at me. Her noodles, he says, shoulders set. I nod like we argued about that yesterday. The door opens, another clipboard, another stare. Random inspection window starts today, the newcomer says. Eli's hand tightens on mine without warning. We keep weekends open, I say before I can blink. The officers trade a look that lands heavy. Mail goes to which address, the newcomer asks. His now, I answer, pulse drumming. Eli lifts his keys and places one in my palm. Metal warms fast against my skin. Use it, he says, jaw steady like a promise. Last question, the first officer says and sits. When did you know this was right? Air thins between us like a pulled thread. Eli's mouth opens and then shuts. I step forward and let my voice drop. When he showed up at urgent care, I say. The room pauses like it lost power. Eli's fingers brush my wrist once. The officers wait for the rest without blinking. I hold silence until it shakes them. The first officer closes the folder slowly. We will be in touch, he says finally. He points at the cheap wall clock like a rule. Expect us early, the newcomer adds with a thin smile. They leave and the door thumps like a gavel. My knees fold to the nearest chair. Eli strips off his tie and tosses it aside. He crouches and watches my breathing even out. We need a script before they return, he says. I nod once while my phone buzzes again. A text arrives from a number I don't know. Upload wedding photos by midnight, the message reads. 3 links sit under it like traps. Eli stands and offers his hand up. We can stage 10 believable moments today, he says. We hit the street without talking. He scans for a ride while I check angles. Start with rings, I say and lift mine. Eli grins and bumps his shoulder to mine. A stranger claps like he loves love. We race to a corner kiosk for a quick print. I snap him biting into a stale donut. He snaps me stealing the last bite. We laugh too loud and then lower it fast. Someone nearby shouts for us to kiss again. Back at his building, the super watches from the hall. Eli raises the envelope and waves it once. Honeymoon, he throws out with a shrug. The super winks and points at the camera. I take the hint and loop Eli's arm. Inside, alarms go on the same schedule. We sync calendars with a final tap. He opens a drawer and slides out a spare brush. I run it under water until the bristles soften. We stare at the sink like it's an oath. My phone buzzes, unknown again, new demand. Video tour of shared space by 9. Eli steadies the frame and lifts a thumb. Welcome home, he says, voice low and even. I step in and let the lens follow. I open a cabinet and point to 2 mugs. I open the freezer and point to 2 dinners. I open the closet and point to 2 coats. The tour ends at the bedroom door that waits. Eli lowers the phone and raises his eyes. "Your call," he says, hands not moving. I crack the door and reveal nothing. Later, I whisper, heat rising like a dare. He nods once and pockets the phone slowly. The hallway hums like it knows our secret. A knock hits sharp, too soon, too bold. Eli and I trade a look that lands hard. I straighten the ring and tuck my hair back. He opens the door with a practiced smile. Two neighbors stand there holding a flimsy card. "Game night, newlyweds," one grins and leans in. Eli accepts and elbows my side gently. "Bring dessert," the other adds with a wink. They leave footprints of gossip in the hall. "Hello." Eli shuts the door and locks it twice. He turns to me, "No acting now. This pace will break us if we guess," he says. "Then we stop guessing," I answer, chest high. We move to the table and list 10 moves. Each one feels like stepping onto thin ice. The upload timer ticks down while my finger hovers. Eli angles the lamp toward our faces and nods once. "Last 3, he whispers, eyes on the screen. I hit send and watch the bar crawl. A new alert pops up like a trap. "Verification call in 10 minutes, my stomach jumps hard. Eli grabs 2 jackets and tosses me one. "Noise downstairs helps," he mutters, already moving. We head to the stairwell and kill our footsteps. A door opens below with laughter we can borrow. In the lobby, the group waves us over. "Newlyweds, you're late," one jokes with a grin. Eli squeezes my knuckles once, quick and firm. "We brought dessert," I say, lifting the bag. My phone vibrates again like a countdown starting. We join the table and stack the cards. Names fly, rules explained in fast fragments. I play wrong on purpose and nudge Eli. He laughs and slings an arm around my shoulder. The call comes through and cuts the room. "Speaker," I whisper, thumb shaking for a second. "Random marital review," a clipped voice announces. Eli straightens and tilts the phone between us. "Confirm current address," the voice continues without pause. I recite, breath measured, eyes on his mouth. "List today's shared activities," the voice demands next. Eli taps the table twice like a drum beat. "We cook together, then photos for our parents." I add, "dropped by friends for cards now." A neighbor cheers like he heard a victory. "Show spouse on camera for identity check." I flip the phone and frame our faces tight. Eli kisses my temple before I think. Heat snaps through me and stalls my reply. "Continue," the voice says, bored and relentless. "One more," the voice drones through the speaker. "What nickname do you use in private?" My tongue trips and finds nothing safe. Eli leans in and whispers, "Just for me." "Star," he breathes, testing if I'll catch it. I smile and repeat it like it always existed. The voice stops, then asks for proof. "Say it to each other now." Eli meets my eyes and doesn't blink. "Star," he says, steady as a vow. The call ends with a dull click that echoes. Cards scatter as if on command. The group claps and chants for another round. Eli picks a card and lifts his brow. I see the question on it and feel dizzy. "Truth or dare," he reads with a smirk. "Dare," I answer, because retreat invites suspicion. "Kiss your partner like you mean it." The table howls and pounds the surface. Eli looks for consent and waits one heartbeat. I grab his collar and pull him close. We kiss longer than the crowd expects. Noise fades until the clock in my head stops. I hear him exhale through his nose slowly. When I pull back, his pupils refuse distance. The neighbors chant for a selfie trophy. Eli lifts the phone and frames the chaos. I wrap both arms around his neck and grin. The photo captures mouths wide and hands raised. He thumbs it into our shared album without hesitation. We leave early with cheeks hot and buzzing. In the hallway, footsteps echo from above. A shadow moves on the landing and halts. A man in a gray coat watches our rings. "Evening," he murmurs as if testing our nerves. He follows us to the door like a ghost. "Do you mind a quick look around?" Eli blocks politely with his body angled. "Inspection request needs a name and badge." The man smiles without humor and steps closer. "File unit," he says, voice flat and low. I reach for the phone and hit record. "We are happy to schedule through our contact." He stares at the camera and recalculates. Tomorrow at 7, he replies, then drifts off. Inside, I lock 2 bolts and check the chain. Eli leans on the counter and studies me. We need deeper threads before morning hits. I open the fridge and think fast. Recipes, alarms, repeating purchases, inside jokes, I list. He grabs a marker and uncaps it with his teeth. We draft a weekly plan on the magnetic board. He writes star workout and glances at me. I write Eli dentist and circle the date. Every stroke builds a trail for strangers to follow. My phone buzzes with another message. Upload banking proof within 24 hours. Eli exhales and opens a blank form. We split utilities down the middle for appearance. I nod and open a new joint account application. He types, I dictate, we weave answers. Security questions request details neither of us share. First pet, the form prompts with cheerful cruelty. Eli stops, eyes darting, fingers hovering. Use none, choose favorite teacher instead, I push. We finish and snap screens for our archive. Eli rubs his brow and paces 3 steps. We should anchor a public routine before sunrise. I grab a tote and shove in laundry. He flashes a grin like he love. That's my speed. We hit the street where the world never sleeps. I tap a ride app and order 2 stops. Laundry first, then gym check-in, I plan. Eli drapes an arm across my back briefly. I let it stay there longer than required. At the machines, we fold in synchronized silence. A teenage clerk watches and hides a smile. Eli touches my elbow and whispers a line. Talk about next month loud enough for ears. I raise my voice and mention a small trip. We swipe into the gym and selfie the entry. He logs a short run for both profiles. I upload the workouts and tag each other. A trainer waves and offers a couple's rate. Eli signs the form while meeting my eyes. We walk home with damp hair and aching legs. A patrol car creeps past and checks plates. I slide my arm through his without thinking. He pulls me closer and keeps pace with me. The car rolls on like we passed a test. Inside, alarms chirp at the hour we set. I toss the tote down and check the uploads. Every file shows green ticks in neat rows. Eli lowers to the couch and pats the space. I sit and count my breaths until the tremor fades. Game night again Friday, a text flashes from downstairs. Eli lifts his eyebrows and waits for my call. We go, I answer because consistency sells. He nods and sinks back as if relieved. I feel that nod somewhere dangerous and new. Another buzz, unknown contact, new hurdle waits. In-person interview moved to tomorrow afternoon. My chest tightens and releases like a faulty valve. Eli sits up and reaches for my hand. We plan answers until the sky starts to lighten. Phone's off, the guard points to a tray and waits. I power down and slide mine across the metal. Eli's hand brushes mine as he follows the rule. A door unlocks somewhere down the corridor. My pulse climbs like it knows what's next. We sit across from a woman in a navy suit. She places 2 folders on the table without hurry. Separate interviews today, she notes while watching us. Eli's knee bumps mine under the chair. We'll start with you, she adds, eyes on me. He stands when I stand, reflex sharp and protective. The guard gestures left for him without a word. I face another door and swallow the dryness. Bring only your ID, the woman reminds me. Eli mouths something that looks like breathe. Inside, the room is stripped of comfort by design. A camera blinks in the corner like it saw everything. State your address and full name, the man starts. I deliver both with even pace and clear edges. He notes the time and pulls a crisp page. What side of the bed do you use? Right, I answer before counting the risk. When was the last time you overslept? Tuesday, I reply, thinking of our synced alarms. He scratches a mark and lifts his gaze. Unlock your banking app and show the joint account. I enter the code while my fingers tremble. He studies the balances and transaction notes. Who bought breakfast yesterday, he asks. I point at a charge and keep my face neutral. Call your spouse by the private nickname. I stare at the lens and speak into air. The word feels different with no audience. He marks another line with mechanical patience. Describe the last argument and who apologized. Disagreement, not a blow-up, I counter, voice steady. About scheduling and the upcoming visit. I apologized first, then he matched it. His eyebrow lifts a fraction like a trap. Apology words, he presses like it matters. I said I got reactive and will adjust. He switches to a printout of our photos. His finger taps the bus stop shot gently. Who took this and what was happening? Timer shot during a ride delay, I reply. He leans back and folds his hands neatly. Wait here and do not touch your bag. He leaves for exactly 2 minutes that stretch. The door opens again with a different rhythm. The woman from before steps in with a tablet. Your partner mentioned a clinic meeting earlier, she states. We will verify that claim on a live call. She taps the screen and angles it toward me. A receptionist appears with a distracted expression. Did you check in together last month? The woman asks. My lungs stutter because we used that story early. Reschedule, I say with a smile that hurts. The receptionist searches for a record and blinks twice. 2 visits under the same address, she answers. Noted, the woman says while studying my face. She ends the call and slides the tablet away. What did you eat that day? She continues. Soup and crackers, I answer without decoration. With what drink? She asks, not looking up. Water, I say and keep my shoulders level. The door opens again and Eli enters with the guard. We face each other like a mirrored test. Couple's portion, the woman says and flips to fresh pages. Stand up and hold hands for 1 minute. I lace my fingers with his and watch his throat. Look at each other and share a secret habit. Eli studies me like he is choosing care. Fully. I line up receipts by date, he admits quietly. I answer with something small but true. I hum when I unlock the door alone. The man pounces as if waiting for that. What lyrics? He asks, pen hovered over the form. Not lyrics, just a note, I correct him. Demonstrate, the woman commands with clinical patience. I hum a single tone and end it fast. Recall your partner's breakfast order for the past week. We alternate days with quick cadence and 0 pauses. Our voices braid in a way that feels practiced. The woman finally looks up from the paperwork. Explain yesterday's gym entry with mismatched times. Staggered treadmills, I answer while Eli nods once. Staff suggested different warm-ups and we complied. She watches our faces for flinches and tells. The man taps his watch like a warning tone. We will verify with the facility this afternoon. The woman lifts a sealed envelope and slides it over. Unseal and read the question together out loud. My fingers work the flap while Eli steadies the edge. We read in sync and hit the same cadence. What scent does your spouse prefer on you? I meet his eyes and risk honesty with care. Clean, nothing heavy, we say at once. The man marks something I cannot see. List 2 items on your bathroom counter. Brush and floss, Eli answers before I can blink. She nods at the guard who opens the side door. Final exercise, she announces with a calm tone. Walk the hallway and return holding each other. We step out the corridor quiet like a trap. Eli squeezes my hand once and releases. Halfway back, the gray coat from last night waits. He tilts his head as if meeting an old friend. Morning, he murmurs, voice smooth and edged. Eli shifts his body to block the angle. Appointment, he adds with a plain nod. We re-enter the room with our backs aligned. The woman watches the gray coat through the glass. Security review as routine, she says with meaning. The man sets down a new sheet with a stamp. Interview concluded, pending external confirmation. My breath stalls while we stand very still. Leave the city without notice and this resets, she warns. Eli slips the folder into his bag with care. I take the receipt and tuck it against my palm. The guard holds the door and studies our faces. Outside, the air hits like a slap. Eli stops at the curb and checks my eyes. We go straight to the gym and then laundry. I nod because changing the pattern is dangerous. A black sedan idles across the street and waits. We board a bus and sit near the back. Eli rests his knee against mine for grounding. I open our shared calendar and add today's steps. New items stack with crisp timestamps and short notes. My chest loosens when the plan fills the screen. At the gym, the trainer waves us through quickly. Couples rate approved, he says with a thumbs up. Eli logs a short session and tags me. I mirror the action and upload proof. A receipt prints and lands in my hand. We hit the laundromat and repeat our routine. Fold together and trade small jokes for the room. A familiar neighbor walks in and spots us. "Friday still on?" she asks while tying her hair. "Wouldn't miss it," Eli answers with a flash. My phone reconnects as we exit the building. Messages flood like a drill I can't control. One stands out with a crisp header. "Return to office tomorrow at 7 sharp." A second follows with a single line that chills. "Bring proof of first meeting at urgent care." Eli reads over my shoulder without breathing. "We have one night to make that airtight." I slide the phone away and meet his look. We turn toward home and walk faster than fear. I press the clinic's buzzer and keep my finger there. Eli stands beside me with his jaw locked. A camera above the door clicks once and holds. "Walk in for records," I say into the grill. The latch releases with a grudging snap that dares us. A receptionist glances up, then down to her screen. "Release forms take 48 hours, she recites on autopilot. "We have until 7, I answer with both hands visible. Eli sets his wallet on the counter like collateral. She studies our rings and hesitates at the wait. "Supervisor S on call," she murmurs and picks up the phone. We wait while my pulse taps the counter. A door opens and a man in scrubs appears. "No expedited releases without a subpoena," he begins flatly. "We don't need content, just check-in proof," I cut in. He pauses and scans us like he smells risk. "Time-stamped arrival is not protected," he admits slowly. "Show ID and we can print a log." Eli lines up both cards with steady hands. The printer hums like it is choosing sides. The sheet spits out with thin lines and codes. He holds it back just short of our fingers. "You were not here that date," he notes calmly. My spine stiffens as the floor tilts. Eli's gaze snaps to mine and waits. "Walk-in canceled before triage," the supervisor adds. "System marks a pre-check that didn't complete." He points to a partial record with a time. I breathe again because the door is cracked open. "Can you certify arrival only?" I ask cleanly. "Yes, with an annotation," he concedes after a beat. He stamps the line and initials right under it. "Pick up copy at front after payment," he says. The receptionist watches the signature like a fuse. "We take card," she adds, eyes flicking toward the camera. Receipt prints with the clinic logo and another stamp. I snap a photo with my screen's date visible. Eli pockets the paper like it's oxygen. "Wait," I say and tap the counter twice. One photo by the entrance sign for verification. The supervisor lifts an eyebrow at the audacity. 5 seconds, he says and walks us out. We pose with neutral faces and minimal space. I hold my ring up as if fixing hair. He counts down and then waves us off. Outside, a sedan slows at the curb and lingers. Eli steps in front of me without thinking. The window lowers an inch and then goes up. I record the plate with a fast sweep. The sedan drifts away like it learned enough. "Next pie." "See," Eli says, keeping his voice level. "We need third-party testimony that isn't family." I scan the street and spot a food truck. Workers chat and lean on crates between orders. I angle toward them with a practiced smile that wavers. "We need witnesses for a civic audit," I start. 2 of them exchange a look that values everything. "Short statement, small fee, no risk," I offer. Eli pulls cash discreetly and waits for the nod. A woman with a visor steps forward and shrugs. "Tell me what you want on video," she says. I frame her with the clinic sign behind. "Repeat this," I prompt, and keep it simple. "I saw them exit together at this time." She delivers clean lines twice for safety and proof. We thank her and add a tip for speed. Eli checks the time and taps his watch. "Gym verification happens in an hour," he notes. "Let's get there first and intercept the call." I pocket the witness clip and move faster. On the sidewalk, someone falls in behind us. Footfalls match our pace like a metronome. I cut right without warning to a corner store. Eli follows and holds the door for me. The shadow passes and keeps walking like it lost interest. Inside, we buy 2 bottles and a spare lock. The cashier eyes our rings and gives a tight nod. Congrats, he offers with a mechanical smile. I use the bag to hide the camera angle. Eli squeezes my wrist once before we exit back out. At the gym desk, the trainer looks up mid-keystroke. Compliance officer called 10 minutes ago, he informs us. Wanted footage timestamps and check-in logs. My stomach turns, but I hold my stare. Do you share logs to third parties? I ask. Only with written consent, he answers and points to forms. Eli signs his name with swift lines and a dot. I sign mine with a flourish that looks natural. The trainer emails the consent and copies our account. I catch the subject line and breathe for the first time. We step onto the floor for a quick session. Heart monitors beep and record honest effort. I push a short sprint to leave a clear trail. Eli matches my pace and glances sideways. Don't burn out before the next stop, he warns. We finish and collect another printout at the desk. I upload the stats and tag our profiles publicly. A notification pings with a sync confirmation. Eli's phone lights up with the agency's domain. He answers on speaker with his face unreadable. Confirm presence now at registered fitness facility. He tilts the camera to the logo behind us. A pause, then a clipped thank you, then click. He pockets the device with calmer hands. We just placed a fresh breadcrumb, he whispers. Outside, the sky shifts and the traffic thickens. We cut across toward the pharmacy on the corner. Clerks remember regulars better than cameras, I note. Eli nods and slides the door open for me. A bell chimes and a woman looks up from a ledger. We need a copy of yesterday's purchase, I begin. Customer privacy prevents that, she replies without sympathy. I slide the clinic receipt across the counter. We're proving a paper trail for an audit. She weighs the paper like it has a pulse. Name and time, she requests in a neutral tone. I give both and add the last 4 digits. She prints a gift receipt with the line items. Official copy tomorrow, she warns with a pointed look. This shows date and register today only. It's enough for a timeline that holds. Eli photographs the slip and saves it twice. The woman leans forward and lowers her voice. A man asked about you earlier, she confides. Tall formal shoes, no badge. We leave with our mouths tight and focused. At the corner, the sedan reappears like a bad coin. Eli steps close so our shoulders touch. Walk like newlyweds, not targets, he instructs softly. I lace our fingers and force my chin up. At home, the hallway buzzes with neighbor noise. A door opens and the super peeks out. New form was slid under your door, he says. He winks and disappears before questions can form. I bend to pick up the envelope with 2 fingertips. Interview moved to 6, the notice reads in bold. A second line sits under it like a blade. Bring verification of joint social routines. Eli rubs his jaw and looks at me. We need neighbors who will vouch without scripts. We knock on the couple from game night. They welcome us with curious eyes and quick grins. I explain the ask and hold my breath. Short statements only, nothing personal, I add. They agree on the spot and grab their phones. We record 2 clean testimonials against a plain wall. They mention dates and recurring evenings with us. Details sync with our calendar entries perfectly. Eli labels the files with exact minute marks. The neighbors sign a simple note with their initials. Back in our place, alarms tick toward 5. I spread the documents across the table in stacks. Eli checks every timestamp and more than once. Clinic arrival, gym consent, pharmacy slip, knee. GH bore clips. I nod and swallow because everything rides on this. A knock lands before the hour strikes. We both jolt and then smooth our faces. Eli opens to reveal 2 officials and the coat. They step over the threshold without small talk. I keep my shoulders down and eyes clear. Video tour first, the shorter one instructs. Eli starts the camera and sweeps the space. I narrate our routine with clipped phrases only. Shared schedule, laundry rotation, alarms synced. The taller one watches my mouth like a lie detector. Proof of urgent care encounter, the coat prompts dryly. I hand over the stamped log with the annotation. He reads twice and glances at the initials. Arrival confirmed, no service rendered, he observes. Arrival suffices for our question, the short one replies. Third-party witness of exit within hour, I add quickly. Eli plays the food truck video on the tablet. The visor woman delivers the line with perfect timing. Both officials watch her eyes for tells. The coat leans closer and checks the background sign. Gym verification from today, Eli continues without a hitch. Consent forms appear on the screen in sequence. The trainer's email header and timestamp align perfectly. Live confirmation earlier, he notes with a glance. The short one nods and scribbles 3 tight marks. Pharmacy purchase near the clinic time, I say. I show the gift receipt with the date and register. The coat studies the digits and the nearby street name. It ties proximity, barely, he mutters with a tap. The short one pockets a copy like it matters. Neighbors, Eli signals, and I cue the clips. 2 testimonies roll with consistent details and cadence. The officials listen without interruption or commentary. The coat finally looks up and meets my gaze. You move in lockstep for 2 people newly paired. Structure keeps us sane, I answer without blinking. He files that away and lifts a new form. Last portion answer at the same time, he directs. Where did you keep your rings before the ceremony? Nightstand tray, we say together and hold. Which one of you loses keys more often? Me, Eli states while I nod without protest. Pet name used today, confirm origin. Gym floor, I answer, and Eli shows the log. The coat suppresses a smirk that feels like rain. They step aside to confer in the hall. We stand still enough to hear our hearts. Eli's hand finds mine under the table's edge. I squeeze back and hate how good it feels. Footsteps return and the door opens halfway. Provisional approval pending file team review, the short one announces. Keep your phones on at all times, he adds. The coat lingers and addresses me directly. Honesty will save you more than theatrics, he states. Then he turns and the latch clicks hard. The room exhales and I finally move. Eli leans on the counter and closes his eyes. We are not done, I remind both of us. He nods and opens the laptop like a reflex. Let's reinforce the story before it hardens. We draft a shared grocery list with recurring items. We add reminders for chores that overlap. We set a standing check-in with the neighbors. We schedule a quick workout before sunrise. Each click feels like tightening a net we chose. I start a group chat with the couple downstairs. Friday confirmed, bringing dessert, I type with intent. A heart pops up and then a cake emoji. Eli chuckles once and quickly stifles it. I store that sound in a place I don't trust. My phone buzzes with an unknown number again. I answer on speaker with a level tone. This is records, your clinic log will be emailed, the voice says. Subject line includes case number for tracking. We both stare at the screen until the mail lands. Attachment opens with crisp seals and clean lines. The time matches our witness statement to the minute. Eli forwards it to our shared folder and tags it. He highlights the reference number like a sacred code. I feel my shoulders drop, then spike back up. The door rattles again, this time too gentle. We look at each other and freeze together. Eli peers through the peephole and stiffens. He unlocks slowly and pulls the door half open. The trainer from the gym stands there with a clipboard. Compliance sent a follow-up form, he explains, breathless. Needed original signatures, not scanned copies. We trade a look and invite him inside. He flips to the lines with sticky notes. We sign where he points and keep everything neat. Thanks, he says, eyes flicking between our faces. Also, congrats again on the couple's plan. He leaves with a wave that feels oddly personal. Eli shuts the door and locks everything again. We stand in silence while the clock keeps moving. The shared calendar dings for our last task. Laundry pickup, then one last selfie, I read aloud. Eli grabs the tote and reaches for my hand. We head down the stairs like we belong here. The super nods and holds the front door. Without asking. On the sidewalk, a drizzle starts and cools my skin. Eli laughs once as a drop lands on his chin. Lucky, he murmurs and brushes my cheek with his knuckle. I shouldn't like that touch, but I do. I look away before the thought gets loud. We collect the folded clothes and pay quickly. A child points at our rings and whispers to her mom. Eli wiggles his fingers and makes the kid grin. I catch it on video for the album. It feels harmless until I realize it's evidence too. Back home, I spread everything on the bed. Logs, receipts, clips, consents. Eli lines them up in order and takes photos. He creates a checklist and marks each square. We stare at the finished grid like it might vanish. A final message lands at exactly 9. Morning visit cancelled, return Wednesday for closure. Eli leans back and lets out air slowly. I press my palms into the blanket to stop shaking. Then another buzz lands and turns my stomach. Random welfare check tonight possible remain available. We both groan and start resetting the space. He tidies the entry while I prep the kitchen. We refresh the toothbrushes and swap the towels. Every move broadcasts the same careful story. He stops in the hall and looks at me. We can keep doing this or we can tell them more. I grip the doorframe and feel the paint bite. More is dangerous if it changes the motive, I answer. He nods but doesn't step away from the thought. The night stretches and the knock never comes. We sit on the couch without a show playing. Eli's head tips back and he reaches for my hand. I place it there because refusing would be louder. We stay like that while alarms tick toward midnight. Tomorrow we build new rituals that feel normal. He speaks into the quiet like a plan. We cook together and leave evidence that lives. I nod because the idea steadies me. Also because I want the part where we cook. We set 2 early alarms and kill the lights. I lie awake and watch shapes move across the ceiling. Eli shifts and turns toward me without touching. Still awake, he whispers into the dark like a test. Yes, I answer and feel the answer change everything. The knock lands like a hammer at 2 a.m. Eli's feet hit the floor before mine. Welfare check, a voice announces through the door. I smooth the blanket and force my pulse down. Eli unbolts while I fix my face for strangers. 2 officers step in with clipped nods. Clipboard bodycam, no smiles, no jokes tonight. Verification requires bedroom access now. Eli glances at me once and lifts his chin. I tug him toward the doorway like it's routine. Show sleep setup and personal items, 1 orders. I pull back the covers and tap matching pillows. Eli opens the drawer and reveals 2 brushes. The officer notes angles and moves to the closet. Where are the extra sheets you both prefer? In the hall bin, I answer to end the search. He checks, then returns with unblinking focus. Demonstrate nightly alarm pattern, he continues. Eli lifts his phone and triggers our paired tones. The chimes overlap and linger like proof under glass. Random question, the taller one says, eyes sharp. Who bought snacks at the bus terminal Sunday? My brain sprints and finds the child's selfie. Me, I reply, showing the clip with the little grin. He watches every pixel and pauses on my hands. Hold up your left hand, he instructs suddenly. I raise it while keeping my shoulders quiet. He zooms the clip and freezes a frame. Band orientation flips here, he points at the screen. Explain the change without delay. Adjusted after washing, band spun around, I answer. He looks for hesitation, finds none, keeps moving. The shorter officer inspects the laundry receipt stack. Pickup timing shifted by an hour, he notes. Reason. Busy counter and a long line, Eli answers dryly. A beat, then a nod, the moment holds. They pivot to the kitchen with efficient steps. Show shared groceries dated within 48 hours. I open the app and scroll to yesterday's order. Who placed the order and from which device? Both I added items and he checked out. The shorter one cross-references the confirmation. IP addresses match your home network now. He marks the form with small, precise strokes. The tall officer circles back to the bedroom doorway. Couples usually keep a keepsake. He scans the surfaces like a scanner at customs. Eli steps to the dresser and lifts a stub. First matinee stub together, he offers with a shrug. The officer leans closer and breathes a quiet hymn. Date aligns with your calendar entry. He pockets a photo of it for the file. Last thing, lie down how you normally sleep. I climb in and roll to my usual side. Eli joins and drapes an arm across my waist. His breathing slows as if he actually rests. The bodycam light blinks, capturing heat and distance. The tall one checks the footage and steps back. Complete, he says, voice neutral and final. They leave with a door click that feels delayed. Eli stays still until their footsteps fade. Mic sweep, he whispers and reaches under the frame. He finds a tiny dot near the outlet and freezes. Not ours, he mouths and places it on the dresser. I grab a glass and cover the device. Eli turns up a podcast on his phone. We talk into the noise like it's cover. They want us off balance before Wednesday, I say. He nods and rubs the bridge of his nose. A new alert flashes on my screen immediately. Anonymous tip received regarding fraudulent union. Eli reads it over my shoulder with eyes hard. Source claims separate residences and staged photos. Attached is a single image from the corner kiosk. Someone tailed us to that printer, I murmur. He pulls up the street camera feed we bookmarked. We scrub through until the sedan ghosts past. He screenshots the timestamp and license plate. We add this to our packet by morning. Another alert pings with a higher priority. Appear at 9 for supplemental questioning. I pace once and stop at the table edge. Then we need an extra witness by 8. Eli's jaw tightens as he weighs options. Super knows our comings and goings, he says. Risky, but he already sees the pattern. We step across the hall and knock twice. He opens fast like he expected us at dawn. Eli asks for a brief statement about quiet hours. The super nods and talks into our camera. They share mornings, they leave and return together. Short, clean, no theatrics. He signs the note with firm strokes. Keep your heads down, he adds like a warning. Back inside, I compile the new bundle. Eli organizes files into a numbered chain. Start with the late-night visit footage, he says. Then the kiosk camera stills after that. I add the mic photo under a heading labeled Anomaly. At 7:30, we head out for round 2. We stop at the pharmacy and collect the official print. The clerk hands it over with a neutral face. Same time as yesterday's slip, she confirms. We thank her and step back into the street. The sedan parks half a block down and idles. Eli shifts his stride and pulls me closer. Ignore it and stay visible, he advises. We loop the block past shop windows and commuters. Our reflections look steadier than I feel. Inside the office, the coat waits with a folder. He gestures to 2 chairs and opens the file. We received a claim with specific accusations. He slides the kiosk snapshot to the center. Who took this and why are you both posed? Self-timer for our parents, I answer evenly. Printer owner can verify the time in person. Eli adds the street cam still of the sedan. The coat studies the plate and writes a note. His pen slows for the first time all week. Anonymous caller used a voice mask, he informs us. However, they referenced a trait only insiders know. He looks at me like he expects a reaction. I keep my features smooth and my breathing measured. He flips to a page with 2 highlighted lines. Caller claimed you never spend nights together. I push the overnight footage across the table. Bodycam glare, bed formed, arm across waist. He watches the minute pass without interruption. Then he checks the timestamp against today's date. Who placed this microphone in your outlet, he asks. We found it after your team left, Eli replies. I show the photo with our watch beside it. He leans forward and inspects the model number. Not ours, he admits and makes a call. He leaves us alone for 30 long seconds. I grip Eli's knee under the table for balance. He looks down at my hand and doesn't move it. When the coat returns, his tone has shifted. We'll treat the tip as harassment for now. Still, the file team wants one final segment. He slides 2 blank forms and uncaps a pen. Write separately why you chose each other. No prompts, no examples, just the white space. Eli exhales and bends over his page. My mind ricochets between safe and real. I reject fluff because fluff reads false. I write about the way he steadies chaos. I write about my trust when plans break. I stop before the word love touches paper. He finishes first and sets his form down. I place mine beside it with a small shake. The coat reads both without a visible tell. He tucks them into the folder and stands. Return tomorrow for a final determination. Outside, we walk until our legs burn. We ditch the sedan with sudden turns and crowds. At a busy corner, we stop and breathe in sync. Eli touches my wrist and checks the time. Breakfast before we collapse, he proposes with a half smile. We sit in a noisy shop and split a sandwich. A waitress recognizes us from the neighborhood. Cute couple, she chirps while dropping the bill. Eli thanks her and slides the receipt into our pile. Somehow this ordinary scrap feels like armor. Back home, we check every outlet and vent. No more devices, just dust and adrenaline. Eli opens the window and lets cool air in. I lean beside him and watch traffic flow. He bumps my shoulder and waits for my eyes. You almost wrote the word we've avoided. He studies my face for denial or fear. I hold his gaze and choose a risk. Almost, I admit, voice low and bare. His hand finds my jaw and pauses for consent. I nod once and rise to meet him. The kiss is deliberate and unhurried by necessity. He pulls back with a shaky breath he can't hide. We are still in the middle of a test. Then let them watch us pass it, I answer. My phone vibrates with a new subject line. File status update available through secure portal. We scramble to open the link together. A progress bar crawls with infuriating patience. When it completes, one sentence fills the screen. Case flagged for high-level review due to internal conflict. Eli reads it twice and goes very still. I feel heat drain into my feet like sand. There's a new button under the notice. Request meeting with Oversight Council. Eli clicks before doubt can grow teeth. A calendar opens with a single slot tonight. We choose it and receive an auto-confirmation code. I add it to our shared schedule and brace. Tonight, someone above the coat will hear everything. I hit join on the portal and adjust my posture. Eli angles the laptop so we both stay centered. A woman appears with a plain backdrop and steady gaze. Oversight Council, she introduces herself and requests brief statements. I feel the clock in my throat ticking louder. Start with the microphone discovery, she prompts without preamble. Eli uploads the photo and our timestamp notes. She zooms in and asks for the make. Third-party surveillance model, I answer, keeping my voice flat. Her eyebrow twitches like a flag going up. Who else entered your unit this week? Compliance, neighbors, trainer, super, Eli lists with clipped economy. Trainer carried forms for wet signatures tonight. She types fast and requests the trainer's footage. I forward the hallway clip where he exits swiftly. A second face tiles in with a badge watermark. Internal security, the newcomer announces with a nod. We're tracing the anonymous tip and the bug. He requests the sedan plate and kiosk frame. Eli uploads both and keeps his jaw tight. The council reads for a long 10 seconds. Your file shows exemplary documentation under pressure, she notes. Yet one reviewer flagged inconsistencies with ring orientation. I steady my breathing and lift my hand. Spins during washing, recorded during the welfare check. She nods once, then pivots to motive. Why pursue this union under these tight timelines? I choose clean truth and avoid decoration now. Stability for me, housing for him, shared logistics. Add that to the written record, she instructs crisply. Internal security requests phone metadata for last night. Eli exports logs and wipes our faces with a towel. The council watches our small motions like they matter. You two coordinate under stress like veterans, she remarks. Coordination is not affection, explain the difference. I look at Eli and feel the floor tilt. We started with a plan, I answer carefully. Then our bodies kept choosing each other anyway. Silence lands in the call like a test. He reaches for my hand and leaves it there. The council breaks the pause with a new prompt. Turn cameras to show your sleeping arrangement again. We rotate the device and present the scene. Security notes the angles and requests a quick still. My pulse steadies against his arm without asking. A notification flashes across our screen mid-meeting. File reviewer has recused due to conflict. The council reads it and lifts her eyes. Someone in the chain knows you personally, she infers. Name appears masked, we will unmask shortly. A third tile pops in with the coat's face. He inclines his head like a chess player arriving late. Counsel, I have interacted with the applicants multiple times. Security cuts him off with a raised palm. We need your disclosure statement on record first. He reads a formal paragraph with cool cadence. Prior acquaintance with the trainer through a volunteer board. My stomach tightens as the connection snaps into place. Security widens the feed and summons the trainer. The trainer appears startled, clipboard missing from view. Did you visit their unit alone tonight? Yes, with forms for original signatures, he confirms. Who sent you? Counsel asks with weight behind it. The trainer hesitates and glances off-screen. File unit liaison texted me the request. Security overlays the text header on the call. The sender's handle resolves into a familiar numeric string. The code does not blink or shift. Counsel's mouth flattens 1 degree, then resets. Liaison sits on your team, correct? Correct, he acknowledges with a narrow nod. Was the microphone deployment authorized through you? No, he answers, and the air thins. Security posts the procurement log with blank fields. Device sourced off books by an unknown, he states. The counsel moves to determination protocol immediately. Given interference, we separate eligibility from harassment. Her tone becomes even colder and more precise. You meet the threshold for bona fide partnership. However, final stamp waits for the internal outcome. Eli leans closer to the mic with measured calm. We accept a delay if safety measures follow. Also requesting cease contact order for the sedan. Security types and nods toward another screen. Plate traced to a contractor under review. The coat clears his throat and faces the camera. I will step back from any further involvement. Counsel confirms and removes his permissions live. The screen flashes while his tile disappears. The trainer exhales like he remembered how. Housekeeping, counsel continues with ruthless efficiency. Upload 2 additional weeks of shared routines. Not for suspicion, for closure against new tips. I open our calendar and duplicate next week carefully. Eli adds reminder tasks and a shared budget note. Secure it. Y softens his tone by a fraction. You two recorded everything except one detail. What do you call each other when nobody listens? The question lands harder than I expect. Eli meets my eyes and gives a tiny smile. Home, he answers, voice low and sure. I feel the word enter my ribs and settle. Counsel watches the exchange like a notary for feelings. This ends the formal segment for tonight, she says. Return tomorrow for delivery of closure language. The call ends with a clean click that echoes. We sit for a beat and stare at the screen. My hand still rests under his without movement. You said home and didn't flinch, I whisper. He squeezes once, then looks toward the kitchen. Let's build tomorrow's evidence and dinner, he says. I laugh because those things just fused. We cue the recorder and begin a simple routine. Chopping, stirring, shared timer, open calendar updates. Each action leaves a footprint and a heartbeat. Halfway through, a new message pings on the laptop. Security is stationed outside until morning for safety. We look at each other and both exhale. Eli cracks 2 jokes to test my smile. The smile shows up without asking permission. We sit to eat with the camera still rolling. He passes me a fork and bumps my knee. After this clears, we can slow down, he says. I nod and check the recorder's little red dot. We can also stop pretending to slow down. He chokes on a laugh and reaches for water. Say that again, he grins, eyes brighter now. We can stop pretending, I repeat with a blush. He leans across the table and kisses me. The recorder catches the sound and our messy breath. Footsteps echo in the hallway and halt outside. We freeze, then unlock the door for the guard. Security sweep, the guard explains with a clipped nod. He scans outlets and corners while we wait. All clear, we remain nearby until sunrise. I thank him and log back up twice. Eli lingers by the door and studies my face. We can sleep or write vows for ourselves. The word vows hangs between us like a test. I take his hand and guide him to the desk. We set a timer for 10 honest minutes. No poetry, no grand promises, just clear lines. I write that I will tell the truth fast. He writes that he will match my courage daily. We trade pages and sign with shaking hands. A final notification pulses on the screen again. Internal liaison suspended pending investigation. Attached is a memo to all case teams. Unauthorized surveillance tools prohibited effective immediately. Eli reads it twice and then finally smiles. Tomorrow is still a mountain, he murmurs. Then we climb it and ask for a flag, I answer. We take one last photo of the papers stacked. He slides an arm around my waist and pulls close. My head finds his shoulder like it trained for this. I set alarms for morning and dim the screen. Do we keep the recorder on? He asks softly. Yes, 1 more hour for the timeline, I reply. He nods and kisses my forehead like a seal. I let my eyes close while the red dot blinks. The phone buzzes once more before midnight strikes. Oversight Council advanced your file to priority queue. A time slot appears at 8 sharp tomorrow. We stare at it like a miracle under glass. Breakfast at 6, walk at 7, finish at 8. He laughs and drags me into a dizzy hug. We started this to survive paperwork, he says. Now I want the parts after the stamps. I nod and feel my heart answer out loud. We crawl into bed while the city keeps watch. In the dark, he whispers into the narrow space. If they ask again why we chose this, tell them because we made a home by doing. I reach for his hand and find it waiting. We hold on while the timer counts down to morning.